Hi everyone, my name is Brandon, aka Smart Home Sellout. Today we're doing the intro on the Apollo R PRO-1. All right, let's jump right into it. So as we can see here, we have the R PRO-1. This has the optional SCD40 CO2 add-on. We will talk more about that soon. We also have a couple of mounting solutions. So here you can tell the top and the bottom, and we'll see later that this is the ceiling mount. And basically what we're gonna do is we'll have the ceiling mount here, and these will kind of hold the R PRO-1 in place and slide into this. And then the lid will make sure that it's unable to fall out. All right, we also have the optional gang box mount kit. So again, the R PRO-1 will mount inside of these, and then we will be able to mount it on a 1 gang box. Perfect. All right, and then of course put a blank faceplate on it. All right, so let's jump into this here. We're gonna go ahead and pop this off, and as you can see, we now have the R PRO-1 with the back off. We can gently remove the SCD40 CO2 sensor here, and we can remove the R PRO-1 from the case. All right, perfect. So as you know, the R PRO-1 is a dual mmWave sensor. What this means is that you have this LD2450 mmWave sensor and this LD2412 mmWave sensor. Now this is an optional add-on for $5. We highly suggest doing that, but you can always buy it later and attach it. So just to show you here, these will both come off with, this has an 8-pin connector, this has a 3 and a 4-pin connector, and we have a teardown and reassembly video if you want to really kind of see it torn down and reassembled from scratch. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this SCD40 CO2 sensor back, and as you can see, we have the X in the bottom left here and a gold dot in the far right, so that means that it's oriented correctly. And so instead of putting this back in the case here, that would be great for, you know, just mounting it on or just setting it on a table or something like that. Instead, we have this optional little, what we call a gang box mount add-on. All right, so as you can see here, it just kind of holds the R PRO-1 in place, and we're just gonna kind of gently set this down. All right, and you can see those holes line up. And I'm not gonna actually screw this in, but basically you're just going to, you know, this will be in a wall, so it'll be sideways. It'll be, you know, a little bit more difficult to install, but we're just going to, you know, go ahead and leave it right as is and just screw a blank faceplate right over the top. These two mmWave sensors will be able to see right through the faceplate, and it will work just fine. All right, so now, as our secondary option, we have the ceiling mount. And it comes with these two resin-mounted little mounts. And you don't want to force, like there's lots of little chips on here, right? So we want to be very careful and make sure that, you know, this sits flat. It might try to pinch it just a little bit. That's fine, just so it doesn't fall off. But all right, and then same with the bottom here, just kind of gently. So, you know, for example, you want to make sure that it says top here, right? We don't want to accidentally have these swapped because they do have a different little design on them. All right, so we also have the actual mount. We have a video going over how to install the ceiling mount in a wall or ceiling. Make sure to check that out. We should have links to it in the description below. I made sure to remove this little cap. And of course, this is, you know, fire safe, right? So it is safe for you to install in your home. All right, so we're going to put this in here, and yours might be a slightly looser fit. I believe I have kind of one of the older models. Make sure we get that in. Mine, I believe, is a little tighter of a fit, but that's okay. We just don't want to do too much force, right? So let's see here. There we go, perfect. All right, so as you can see, whenever you're mounting it, you're gonna be mounting it facing, you know, well, it's gonna be on the ceiling, right? But of course, this side is gonna be facing outwards. And then of course, you'll put the cap back on, and that just kind of pushes gently through there. And of course, in our install video, we go over this, but these flip back and go inside the hole, and they kind of hold it, you know, flat against the drywall. All right, perfect. So, you know, in this video, we just kind of wanted to go over the different options that you had in your R PRO-1. So, of course, we have our standard, you know, case that it comes with, and there is, you know, There's nothing wrong with just having it sit down and, you know, look in this general direction, and works great as a dual mmWave sensor. However, of course, we also have the optional 1-gang mount add-ons, and we have these ceiling mount add-ons. So whether you want to go on a wall, whether you want to go on a ceiling, or just on a desk, the R PRO-1 should work for you. All right, everyone, thanks again, and we will see you on the next one. Today we're going to be doing a teardown of the Apollo R PRO-1. Alright, so as we can see here, this is the SCD40 CO2 sensor. We have the USB-C port, we have the PoE Ethernet port here. Alright, and so we're going to gently pop that off. Perfect. Alright, so now that we've exposed the PCB, we can see that the SCD40 CO2 sensor is kind of sitting there on top, and we can gently grab it from the Ethernet port and flip it over and take a look at what all we've got here. So we have the LD2412. This is our optional add-on that gives you really good still detection. It has a 150 degree field of view horizontally, and it goes up to 9 meters. So really neat secondary optional LD2412 mmWave sensor here. We also have the LD2450. So this allows you to track 3 targets in up to 3 zones. It's the same that we have in the Apollo MTR-1. Alright, as we can see here, we also have the reset button on the left, the boot button on the right, and we have the 2 LEDs, and of course the microcontroller itself. Alright, so to disassemble this, we are going to gently pop the SCD40 CO2 sensor off. And you can tell here there's a very small little X right there on the PCB. And so we're going to line up that X with this X that we see there on the PCB. Whenever we put it back on, there's also a little gold dot right here on the corner. And so whenever we pop that back on, the gold dot will be facing the top right. Alright, and then if we flip this over here, these 2 mmWave sensors can actually come off. So the LD2450 will gently slide off there. Alright, and then the LD2412 will also slide off. Alright, perfect. So this is the bare stock base model of the Apollo R PRO-1. Alright, so now that we have this, our next steps will be to put it back together, right? So, okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our LD2412, and you can see there's 3 pins on one side here, and there's 4 on the other, so we're just going to gently line those up and gently press it down on there. And then next, our LD2450, we're going to line the pins up, gently push that on there, and it will look just like that. Perfect. Alright, and then of course our SCD40 CO2 sensor, you might not have this if you didn't pay the extra 20 bucks for it. Alright, so as you can tell, there's a little mezzanine connector here, and we have lined it up and gently pressed it down, and you can tell that it's correct because the golden dot is on the right, and you see the little X in the bottom left corner there. Perfect. So at that point, we just grab our case, we look for the notch that lets us know to put it towards the USB-C cable or port, and then we're going to gently put the case back on. Alright, that is the teardown and reassembly of the Apollo R PRO-1.